Bombs are dropping all around me. I'm 8 years old, and I am absolutely terrified. My knees are clutched to my chest on the concrete floor, pressed up against my family. I've never seen my parents so scared. The bomb shelter is packed wall to wall, and it's difficult to breathe. I look around and I see families crying, screaming, and praying. And I wonder if I'm going to die. Suddenly the bombs subside, and 2 tall men enter the bomb shelter, calling out my little brother's name. What happened next changed my life forever. Today I want to talk to you about the birth lottery. What does that mean, the birth lottery? It's the randomness of our starting point, of being born into a set of traits and circumstances that shape the opportunities that we have in life. Picture a lottery machine. Jets of air blow through the chamber, mixing the balls. Instead of numbers, however, each one is painted with a trait you're going to inherit: your gender, your race, your health. Imagine a hand pulling a valve and a ball popping up through the chute. You're now a boy or a girl. You're poor, rich. You're healthy or disabled. The advantages and disadvantages that you'll have in life are directly tied to those random selections. You don't choose your parents, the religion that's bestowed upon you, your socioeconomic class, the country in which you're born, its political system, the education you receive, the culture you're raised in, and yet they all play, each of them, a significant role into who you become. They shape your experiences, your perspectives, your values, and your core identity. What's an example of one of those traits that you can't control and how it can affect your life? Let's talk about the birth order. Scientists from around the world has found that the order in which you're born greatly affects your personality and your livelihood. Firstborns, for example, are usually perfectionists, overachievers, have type A personalities, and they're more likely to be successful. More CEOs are firstborns than any other place in the birth order. In fact, more than half of all Nobel Prize winners and US presidents are firstborns. What does that mean for everybody else? Secondborns and middle children are more likely to be the mediator within their family, and they develop into good compromisers and negotiators. And the baby of the family is more likely to be fun-loving, outgoing, and have a wider pool of friends. Our birth order, this one attribute alone, plays a significant part into our character, into our disposition, into who we become. And the question this leads into is, how much of our life has been influenced by outside forces, and how much of it was determined by you? Or said in another way, at what point does the world stop shaping you, if at all, and you start shaping the world? Today I'm going to talk to you about my story, how I got to those questions, and what I discovered. I was born to Palestinian parents, moved to Kuwait when my dad landed a new job. We were lucky in many ways. We were born in an upper middle class family. We lived in a beautiful, spacious apartment in the middle of the city. We were surrounded by family and loved ones, and we were healthy. And it was a complete fluke how we ended up in America. My dad, in the summer of 1990, had a business trip right here in Philadelphia. My mom, who'd never been, tagged along. She was 6 months pregnant, and she ended up having my little baby brother here on July 1st at Penn Hospital. A month after they came back to Kuwait, Saddam Hussein invaded the country, and the Gulf War began. We were caught right in the middle of it. And we were at that bomb shelter when those 2 men came in, asking for my little brother. My dad stood up and asked who they were. "We're from the US Embassy," one of them responded. "What do you want?" "We're here to evacuate all Americans, and we're looking for Mahmoud Mustafa." My mom leapt to her feet, clutching my newborn baby brother closer to her chest. "Are you taking my baby?" "No, ma'am. You're all going. Pack 2 bags. We're leaving immediately." And just like that, we boarded a plane and flew to the United States, right here to Philadelphia, where we were presented with many challenges and many opportunities. And when I went to school, they didn't know what to do with me. They didn't have English as a second language classes. So they sat me in the back with crayons and paper, and I colored my way through 4th grade. And my dad, he tried to get a job in his field, but he couldn't. His engineering degree didn't transfer from where he got it to here. So after 9 months, he swallowed his pride, borrowed money, and bought a 7-Eleven franchise. So yes, we were the stereotypical Arab immigrant family in my neighborhood. It was a family business. We all worked there. And after 10 years, my dad sold it. And that same summer, he boarded a one-way flight to Jordan, never to return. He had grown increasingly displeased with our Americanization and didn't want to stay. And he ended up taking all the family's savings with him, leaving us to fend for ourselves. Shortly after, we discovered we were illegal immigrants or illegal aliens, and we couldn't get real jobs. So we all took under-the-table jobs to survive. And then 9/11 happened. I walked into work the following day, and my manager turned to me and said, "Yasmine, you don't know how to fly planes, do you?" I was shocked and really embarrassed. And I was fired a few days later. My other brother, caught the worst of it. He had the misfortune of being named Osama. He was fired, and when he couldn't find another job, he reset his circumstances by changing his name to Adam. All those experiences fueled a fire under me. It motivated me to want to be my own boss so that I could treat others the way I want to be treated and lead others the way I want to be led. And so I found myself at Temple's entrepreneurship program, where I studied under some incredible mentors who greatly inspired me. With 2 under-the-table jobs, making $5 an hour, I attended part-time. And I graduated 7.5 years later. Thank you. Struggling for money was a constant theme in my life, and it inspired the idea for my first startup, which was helping bloggers make money from their content. I hustled and hustled and hustled, and I was thrilled when it was acquired in late 2011. And while I was running it, let me tell you, I was way over my head. I had no tech experience whatsoever. And I tried teaching myself how to code, and I failed miserably. And I seized an opportunity when I learned why so few women get into technology. And I started a local chapter that empowers women to learn how to code. I'm proud to say it's grown to 20 teachers, over 80 volunteers, and we've now touched the lives of more than 3,000 women. You guys are too kind. I haven't stopped hustling. Still hustling. I want to change the world. And my latest venture is called Roar for Good, and it's aimed at empowering women to live their lives boldly and without fear using fashionable safety jewelry, mobile technology, and education. This September will mark 25 years since the 8 of us migrated to Philadelphia. And I can't help but think about what my life would have been like if we had never come here. Most likely, it would have been similar to my aunts, my cousins, and my mom. My mom's marriage was arranged for her when she was 16 years old. She met my dad just 3 days before her wedding. The status quo for women was to raise a family, and very few furthered their education beyond high school. And I think about that a lot. I wonder what would have happened. And not that it's bad or good, I don't know what would have happened, but I do know that Saddam Hussein's actions and my brother being born here completely changed the trajectory of my life. I was given a chance to transform my birth lottery ticket, and I did. From being born an Arab woman with a predestined path into an unimagined life that's led me to where I am right now. And I remember one day thinking about this yet again, and I had an epiphany. And it was this: while the birth lottery shapes who we might become, it doesn't define who we must be. It took 22 years until I became a US citizen. I will never, ever forget that day. And by the way, that could be its own TED Talk. 22 years. I was naturalized on April 19th, 2012 at exactly 10:39 a.m. What I'll also never forget is the different reactions I received from my friends. Most of my American friends were somewhat ambivalent, but my immigrant friends, they got it. They got the significance of it. And I remember being struck by a thought, and that's we don't realize our privilege until we've lost it or until we've gained it. We are all players in the birth lottery, all of us. By the way, I walked home hugging random strangers on the street. And I'm not a hugger, just to put that out there. I threw a party, and I had a birthday, an American flag cake made, just because I had to. But yes, we're all players in the birth lottery. We're all dealt a certain hand. And much of it has shaped who we've become. But while the birth lottery shapes who we are, it does not define us. And I invite you to ask yourself, are you allowing your birth lottery to define who you are? Some people think their ticket's been punched for them already. It does not have to be that way. My ticket, by the way, resulted in me being the second child, not the firstborn. I transformed it into the life I currently lead. That ticket may have suggested the life you have, but in no way is it the life you must lead. I'm living proof of that. Thank you.